look, I got the 9 points right for Jacksonville, right? I said 34-9. I mean,
in the words of Eddie Money, I just want to go back.
I just
want to go back, man.
It's the first points I got right this year for one of the teams, but not the way we wanted it to be. It is the Buffalo No-Huddle from the Batavia Daily News and Livingston County News. I'm Jimi Jamm from CJ Country. I host the morning show from 6 to 10.
And I'm a disappointed fan right now.
That's Marc Tillery, who produces the show. And Marc, give us the overall sketch of what you thought about last week's game before we get into the finer points, because I know how you feel about some of the things that have happened in the game, and I want to tell you some of the things I think versus the things you think, but let's look at the overall before we jump into it.
I'm not Stephen A. I'm not Max Kellerman, but looking at it from an athletic perspective and somebody that's played the game, you could be overconfident going into a game, and I've talked about that, and you could be underprepared going into a game. And I just don't. Defense played great. All right, defense did what they could to keep offense in the game. But man, if you got an MVP caliber quarterback and all these elite players around him, and the running backs certainly aren't elite. The running backs aren't even. They're not up with a lot of players in the NFL. Just to be kind about it. Mm-hmm. You start, and Dawson Knox was gone too. Yeah. The S1E kid didn't do so hot. We saw a lot of him, but we didn't see enough production on the offense, and it showed. And once you started seeing the time tick away, you're like, they got a shot of actually losing this game. And there was points where they should have taken advantage and at least got up there and stayed with Jacksonville and got ahead a little bit, but it was just a disaster, man. I remember sitting in the bar with my chicken wing dip in front of me and a ton of Bills fans around me, right? And just my stomach hurt at the end of the day, and I promise you it wasn't that chicken wing dip.
It was tough to watch at home, and I might have I'm not one to get overly emotional after a game, but I'm pretty sure Margot heard me walk toward the kitchen and let out an F-bomb that was pretty loud, and pretty much it was just a one-word accentuation point on how the afternoon had gone. It was.
I was on my seat.
It was rough, and I'm not one to normally, I've seen enough bad days at the office to not get too worried about it, because how many times in the Super Bowl years did we see Buffalo at the height of their powers go into Kansas City on a Monday night and get whacked 33-6 and then win the conference?
Total agreement.
But having said that, there are systemic problems right now with the Bills this week. Who would have thought Jets week would be the fulcrum for the rest of the season? This is the way I feel right now based on what I can tell you, based on what I've been able to glean this week, and just from watching the game again. I don't know how I did that. I watched the game again. I must be a glutton for punishment. But things that the Bills need to fix this week, and if they don't fix them, this could be a team that could even miss the playoffs. I'm not even kidding. That's not hype. I'm not someone to ring the bell in that way. I'm telling you, this is a team that could miss completely if they don't fix the systemic problems they have this week going forward.
And that's why I respect what you're saying. I mean, you look at it out there, you have the receivers. I don't want to hear the Mafia talking about OBJ coming in, because like I said, and I told you before the program, Andre Reed, your Stephon Diggs is Andre Reed. You go back to that era, Diggs Reed, Cole Beasley, and then you got that veteran wide receiver that's Emmanuel Sanders, that's your James Lofton. The formula is there, but on their best day, Singletary and Moss can't even hold a candle to Thurman Thomas on his worst day. That is one of the big problems as running back, man. You have a solid defense.
It's a different league back then. It was easier to stack a roster than it is now. And look, if Bean wants OBJ, fine, because if I trust him, if he says, hey, you know what, we can use this piece, I'm for it. If he wants to make it happen, go ahead and make it happen. I'm not, whatever. But there's other problems that need to be fixed. And trust me, our coach, Sean McDermott, knows what needs to be fixed, because he talked about some of that today, and just in general.
Good news is I saw Dawson Knox out there practicing. Who knows if he'll be ready for the Jets this weekend? I'm not ready to give up on the S1E kid yet.
I think they need him back in there. I think it's tough to bag on S1E, because S1E's inexperienced, and tight ends do not just get drafted and become stars in this league. They just don't. Normally, not everybody's a Gronkowski coming screaming out the box and becomes a player. It takes a few years to develop, and he just hasn't had enough reps on the field. Let's not forget he did catch a touchdown, previously, but he's not Dawson, and Dawson took 3 years to be Dawson. Yep. So we got to be fair in that assessment.
And congratulations, you came out of the Tennessee game, you beat Miami again. Big deal. Everybody beats up on Miami. But if you go to play a team like Tennessee, it's going to be a different story this time because Tennessee arrived this weekend. I didn't think I'd see what they, and I'm talking about the other NFL right now, but you got to worry about these teams. If you think you're getting to the Super Bowl, you got to worry about every one of these teams.
When you bring up Miami, that brings up a point I'm going to bring up about the Bills because the Bills, it involves that bad first half they had against them and goes into their current problems. Let's start off with the awards, though. Here,
floor is yours.
Your most valuable player. Who's your most valuable player?
I mean, he showed heart out there. He definitely showed the athletic ability. He caught the balls. Obviously, it wasn't a perfect game for him, but I'm giving it to Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
I'd love to give it to the entire defense. They played one heck of a game, but I'm looking at it from an offensive place and where we could build from there. Diggs delivered. Honorable mention to Josh Allen, though, for player of the game.
I know which way. I know which way you're going with this because that's my MVP right there. The one who wears 41 for Jacksonville.
Yeah, interception. The thing is, if it's going to happen, unfortunately, it happened against Buffalo.
Interception. Talk about
fumble
recovery, and
sack.
You know, he had the trifecta. He was my MVP for the game. That's what you took my punchline from me. But yeah,
I look right over, and the thing is, this isn't rehearsed. We're going right off the cuff here. I looked right at Bryce, and I was like, this crap only happens to Buffalo. The fact that he sacked, and the thing is, everybody's like, our Josh Allen's better than yours. Well, not on this Sunday, and that hurt.
You know what, though? Good for the Jacksonville Josh Allen because he has been a player who's been really quietly building his way up in league ranks, and I think that was his breakout game where people start to really respect his game going forward. I think you're going to...
Put it this way, my Price is Right moments are over at that point because that was a bad score I chose.
Not going to buy rookie cards from two guys named Josh Allen to try to invest and save a little bit. All right, my least valuable player, or actually we don't say least valuable player, we call better luck next time. We try to keep it somewhat positive. Better luck next time. Who's your pick?
Cole Beasley. And I've been churching him up a lot lately, but you look at there was a lot of missed balls this weekend. There was stuff he could have caught in open field, and as a slot receiver, you look at the Julian Edelmans, you look at all those players over the years, you can't drop those balls, man, because that made a huge difference. Defense carried you for only so long.
He had the one drop in the second quarter, second and 12, that was big. But when you talk about his award, Beasley's going to play into what I'm here to tell you about. It's wrong with the Bills' offense. I'm going to explain to you in a little bit.
Got you, brother.
Now, bro, seriously. Who's your bro, seriously? This is the one that makes you just go, it could be something in the game, outside the game, and usually we like to think it's that Mahomes' little brother that wins that award every week. But in reality, who is your
I wish it was
seriously?
I wish it was Action Jackson Mahomes at this point, but it's not. It is league-wide problem. You saw it on Monday. You certainly saw it on Sunday.
Right.
The Zebras, man. And I'm not talking Michael Rappaport.
Is there anything specific? Because I hate when people just go, it was the refs, man, because it's just like, no, score more points, and then guess what? The refs aren't a problem when you start winning.
There were some ridiculous penalties called. I mean, I can't pinpoint just one because we're looking back at that game, but there's a lot of flags called that shouldn't have been called. And I'm sure you can elaborate on what I'm talking about here, but there was a lot called that shouldn't have been called. And it was disappointing to see that. Who knows if it would have been a different outcome. I just don't think Buffalo is poised to win that game on Sunday. And you can't blame the refs completely, but just across the league, the refs are a huge bro, seriously, man.
I can believe a team will have bad days, or a team can maybe overlook an opponent, maybe. But I don't like to deal in those generalities usually because the game is a little more complex than that. Right. There are a lot of intangibles involved, so I don't go that way. Why don't we take a break, get our fix, our game time fix, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain.
I can finally eat after Sunday. It took me a couple days, like a sad girl with
my
ice cream,
appetite
man.
stayed the whole time. Look at me. And well, after we get our game time fix here real quick, I'm going to talk to you about the Bills' offense and what I think is wrong and why it could be a serious problem.
Nick Ficarella, the Pizza Making University.
So this is what I've been able to figure out and look at and just reaffirm with my own eyes. Right. And I'm not taking full credit for this. I listen to what people say. I take it all in. But also, too, I form my own opinions about what's going on or try to be, at least as much as I can be.
It's a blender of information.
No one's ever going to, no one's ever going to confuse me for being a football analyst. But here's the deal. Think back to the first half of the Miami game. Buffalo laid an egg in that first half before they finally turned things on and figured it out. Okay? Well, what Miami had done is Miami up to that point, we whacked them 35-0. They were playing more man-to-man. They went to a cover 2 in the Miami game. The cover 2 is when you've got those two safeties playing deep, and it presents a way to cut off long passes. You know what I mean? If you were one of those guys going, why don't they throw it long? Well, you can't when people are in a cover 2, because that means there's always two guys back there on a receiver on your primary target, and you're asking for an interception or something bad to happen, a deflection, whatever. So Miami had that figured out in the first half, and I'll tell you why it didn't work in the second half for them, but here's the deal. The people can go to a cover 2 when they don't respect your running game or your offensive line, okay? So because of the fact that Buffalo's offensive line has been anemic and hasn't opened holes and the running backs have been unspectacular, Jacksonville sat in a cover 2. And because they sat in a cover 2, they could bring a 4-man rush, and that was it, and create problems, create havoc, and Josh didn't have enough time. You notice how fast Josh was trying to escape the pocket later in the game? Every time, as soon as he got the snap, because you're trying to find different angles to change the way the cover 2 is zoned. There was a play during the game, and I don't know if you remember this one. Isaiah McKenzie made a catch, and then he immediately ran out to the sidelines and waited, even though they were still calling the play and lining up over there. He had gone toward the sideline. Right. TV picked him up. That's because he was trying to change the angles of how they line up to protect. So they went to this cover 2 because they didn't have to stop the run or pass because it was the run because it was non-existent, and that cuts off the long pass. It gives no time for anything to develop downfield. And when you couple, so that's the one thing they were doing. They were getting cover 2, which Buffalo has to figure out a way to stop. Well, in the Miami game, in the second half, they did. Why? Because of Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley got open, and he was the cure-all for that cover 2 because of the things he was doing. Well, who was out in the fourth quarter? Beasley. 0 snaps in the fourth quarter. He got banged up. He did not play in the fourth quarter. So there went the escape valve right there. And that was part of it. Now, here's the deal. The Bills have to fix the offensive line. They're getting 2 guys back. They're getting Knox back, hopefully, this week. But if they get them back, that can go a long way maybe toward fixing some of these things. And also, too, Brian Dable's got to do a better job of calling some plays to counteract if he can. And Buffalo has to make the offensive line work. I mean, McDermott's not a coach who calls people out, but he has a great way of speaking publicly when he wants to set a statement saying, "Look, you got to fix this." We know without saying it. You know what I mean? We this has to be. We got to do a better job of this, and this. So they know what the mission is this week, and they have to fix it because if things stay the way they are, teams are going to sit in that cover 2 the rest of the season, and this could be really sad going forward. It's not hyperbole when I tell you Buffalo could miss out altogether. New England is getting their legs underneath them.
They really are.
And Mac is looking like a quarterback. And guess what? Belichick kicked the tires on OBJ. Who knows? He could be wearing the silver, red, white, and blue come, before we know it. You never know. So
it's just, again, the AFC is just, it's changing. It's interchanging every single week. I mean, you and I, 2 weeks ago, the Bengals were right up there. They got beat by the Browns. And these are teams that are emerging, and you put that pass rush on Buffalo. You put that cover 2 on Buffalo. It's going to show the weaknesses of this team, man, and that's why I don't know if they need to get a running game going.
Well, here's the thing,
but the defense is great. I can't hate on the defense.
No, the defense isn't. And one of those field goals came on a short field off a turnover. But here's the thing. Remember you were saying, you said to me before we got on talking about injuries are no excuse. You got to find the next man up and whatever. Teams have depth, but to a point. Don't forget, who was banged up and lost to the Jets earlier this season because they had how many players injured? The Titans.
Yeah, you're right.
So
that's
so this is my point. So don't worry about who the Jets have been. Jacksonville proved if they can find what the weak link is, other teams can just adopt it. Robert Saleh is a defensive coach. He came from San Francisco, and he's the new Jets head coach. He's smart enough to dial this up and figure it out. So Buffalo needs to fix the offensive line. They got to be able to run the ball to some extent this week, or at least Dable's got to get creative with the run calls to open up holes, or this game's going to be bad.
Here's a problem I have, though. I mean, we know Buffalo knows they were weak at running back, okay? And then again, the Titans pull their stunt. They lose Derek. All right, they lose Derrick Henry. They bring in Adrian Peterson. He wasn't a huge factor this past Sunday, but he certainly pulled that move where he decoyed at the line. Next thing you know, you got a linebacker catching a touchdown or a lineman catching a touchdown. This is what Tennessee does differently, and I wish Buffalo was a tad bit more aggressive on getting players in there because, again, this running back team is not doing anything for us right now. I mean, look at the stats. The stats don't lie. Defense can only be strong for so long and carry that offense. Buffalo is at the point now, the next couple years, they have a strong defensive team. They're only getting better. You can't have Josh Allen... You can't have him backtrack. He's a great quarterback, but he starts losing confidence. You're going to see it on the field because he can't just go out there and say, I played like You can't have Brian DeBall going out there saying it's on me. Just get it together. Stop taking it. You're taking accountability, which is great, but not everybody needs to blame themselves. Get it together and just know that you have a powerful team and a defense that's certainly playing for you. Play for them.
And Josh can affect like when you're not getting first half protection as a quarterback. The tendency is that any time things get a little tight around you in the pocket, your tendency is going to be to run at that point when you should stay in there and throw a little bit longer. Now, I'm not putting that on Josh. That's a natural reaction a lot of quarterbacks across the league would have. So they've got to fix that. They've got to do a better job with the running. They've got to do a better job of the blocking this week because the Jets will present big-time problems for them. Let's take a break and thank our other sponsor for being part of Buffalo No-Huddle, GCC.
Choose a school where the arts come alive, where science and technology thrive, to create something extraordinary. No matter which path you choose, GCC gives you the tools to start your next journey. Because when you choose GCC, your time is now.
So the Bills are out at the Meadowlands this weekend to take on the Jets. The Jets sitting at 2-6, and this quarterback, this Mike White, a little bit of revelation. Zach Wilson not ready to come back yet. Mike White's going to be the starter, but not setting the world on fire, but 5 touchdowns versus 4 interceptions, and he's kind of looked the part as a starter, at least in the short term. Sometimes a quarterback will get found out over time as teams study them, but right now he's sort of feeling it. He's doing good. He's doing good from that. It'd be hard to go back to, if I'm the coach going to how do I go back to Zach Wilson just yet, but maybe,
A lot of surprises, a lot of quarterback controversies, but anybody who watched Thursday Night Football last week knows, and I get it, they were playing, it was a Super Bowl of sorts, the Jets and the Colts, if we can go there. The Jets look good, man. They got speed. They got a running back that's developing. And again, I'm going to diss our running game. It was obviously better than ours.
Yeah.
The Jets, when I looked at them last week, I was like, they look good. But again, any team looks good against a team that they're kind of leveled out with.
Right.
So saying that, I think Jets definitely, they don't have the defense Buffalo has.
Right.
But they certainly have some up-and-coming wide receivers. They certainly have a running game. They certainly have a quarterback carousel. But for some reason, every quarterback that goes in there and they plays. So looking at that, Jets have a very surprising team. And I'm not going to give my prediction yet because we're going to go through all that first.
Sure.
But the Jets just looked good, and they look fast, and they look like a young team that could play on Thursday. And it was a cool game to watch.
Michael Carter, their rookie running back, is someone to watch. He can receive, he can run at the same time. He had 86 scrimmage yards last week.
Yeah.
Last year, don't forget, Jamison Crowder went for 115, the receiver, against the Bills last year. They got the rookie Elijah Moore, who you probably saw, 84 yards in receptions.
Yes.
And he had his first 2 career receiving touchdowns last week.
All right, we're churching up the offense pretty good right now, but being the way that Buffalo's offensive line has been playing and the defense has been getting back there with the cover 2 and certainly putting that rush on them, what player do you feel could actually get in that backfield and cause some fits for Allen this weekend in that offensive
C.J.
line?
Mosley's a problem, linebacker. He's had some good games against Buffalo in the past. Safety Ashton Davis could be somebody in the cover 2 that can create problems out there. If he can successfully run the cover 2, that could be a thing. And then John Franklin Myers has had a sack in 3 of the past 4 games at home. There's pieces there. They're not a fully formed team, but like I said, Jacksonville's not fully formed either than having Josh Allen as a star. And look
the
what
other
happened. The other Josh Allen, 41.
Their Josh Allen is better last
week. Last week it was. But
won't be again. But
Yeah.
And so the other side of the ball, looking at the strong defense, strong secondary, the strong line that Buffalo.
I didn't say strong defense and strong secondary.
No,
they've given up 408 yards a game and given up how many points a game so far?
No, I'm talking Bills defense. So if you had to see from the Jets threats, who on our defense will we have to worry about with the Jets offense threatening them?
Like I was saying before, you got to watch out for Crowder. You got to watch out for this rookie Carter and Mike White, the quarterback. He's looked good in these couple starts now. McDermott has a good luck with young, inexperienced quarterbacks to make them look foolish. Because look at last week. Trevor Lawrence didn't do anything. He really didn't for Jacksonville. You know what I mean? The defense came to play, and I'm sure that'll be the same thing here. But it really depends on Buffalo fixing their problems.
Lawrence definitely didn't do anything. So any Jacksonville fan out there that's trying to say Lawrence Lawrence is that up-and-coming quarterback. I haven't seen any flashes of greatness out of him yet.
I was being so petty and cocky at the start of that game.
Same.
Well,
Same, man.
Every time Trevor Lawrence will line up, they get a close-up of the camera. I make Margot laugh. I go, Lord Farquhar, look at him.
He's Lord Farquhar, but he also looks like a Voltron on the Florida-Georgia line.
Little bit of Fabio. Fabio and Farquhar had a baby. But yeah, so we have to laugh. It keeps us from crying. Anyway, so look.
Bad 80s surfer movie, man.
So here's the deal: the Jets. Robert Saleh is not a dummy. So until the Bills fix their problems, all right. Prediction time. Prediction time now. Let's figure this out. Jets, Bills, Sunday. Prediction and score.
Look, man. After the opening half of the Miami game and after the whole Jacksonville game, the Jacksonville as a whole last week, I'm confident in the defense. I'm not confident that the offense is going to go out there and be that high, prolific, high-scoring offense that they've been. So, and after seeing the Jets play last Thursday, I get it that they were playing the Colts, but the Colts have played some teams pretty tough this season.
Yeah.
I'm giving a 24-17 Jets win.
Okay.
I don't feel I think the offense needs one more shot to realize that, like, look, our playoffs are on the line here. Our season's on the line here. And just, I don't feel Josh Allen's got his confidence back yet, man. The Miami game, he should have come out on fire.
Nah, see, I disagree with that because I think Josh Allen is a learner. The Buffalo one, not the Jacksonville. Josh Allen's a learner from when mistakes happen. He fixes them, and he's determined to fix them, and he always has in the offseason. I think he will this week. I think they're going to be on a mission. I think it's going to be a blowout now. I'm going to say 14-10 Buffalo. On this, I think Buffalo does just enough. They may have to even resort to some trickery if they don't feel if that line's not together. Dable's got to get creative because if they don't have all the parts back, I want to know how Spencer Brown. No offense to you, Spencer, if someone gets this to you. What did he do during weightlifting to injure his back? Because during the season, it's not like they're doing the crazy stuff during weeks. So it must have been something fluke. It must have been something weird.
He tried carrying the team.
Wow, look at that. I'm not dissing on him. It's just weird. It's just a weird injury to happen in season.
I know,
so.
and trust me, man, I'm all in my feelings like Drake now because 2 weeks ago you probably said the same thing as Miami, right? Didn't you say Miami was going to win? Or who was the team you said was going to? It was roll back the film, whatever.
I don't know.
You picked a team over.
See,
Buffalo.
we tape the show after I wake up from a nap, but you're not going to get the best out of me.
I'm with you. But the whole point is, I'm in my feelings right now. I don't really trust that the offense is going to come out there like they are. I trust the defense is going to play a great game. But like I said, after seeing the high-powered offense that the Jets can bring.
The Jets have a little more offense to bring than Jacksonville
Yeah,
does.
and I was really surprised. And that game kind of turned the page for me. It's the second half of the season pretty much, and these teams are hungry, man. And the AFC, unfortunately, is wide open right now, especially like you said with the Patriots stepping up like they're stepping up. And the AFC East is, I don't want to see Buffalo lose it, but it's not looking good right now.
There you go. I'm hoping for a Buffalo win, and I know you are too, even though you took the Jets.
I am, but journalistic-wise, I mean, I pick Buffalo every single week, and like I said, watching, I know I sound like a broken record here, but watching the Jets play the Colts like they did and seeing how the Bills' offense has played lately, defense can't carry you all 4 quarters. Not this time. Offense has gotta step up, man. They got to. With those weapons, you got to step up, and the running game has to step up. The running game has to exist at some point.
Yep. All right. So
Thurman, come back.
Come on back. Patty, do your job. Get him to come back. All right. That does it for the Buffalo No-Huddle for
this point.
Right. Well, what other backs from that era can we think of?
Travis Henry.
Wow. Travis Henry for a gain of 9 kids. Remember that? Anyway, that's the Buffalo No-Huddle from the Batavia Daily News and Livingston County News. I'm Jimi Jamm, and hopefully I'll see you next week if I'm here next week. I do the morning show from 6 to 10 on the radio, though. And Marc Tillery from the Batavia Daily News and a producer of this show. And that's it. Let's hope for a win because they need it. I don't want to think about what the alternative is, all right? So until next week, take care. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Daily News on YouTube. And until then, go Bills.